Welcome to another episode of Bargain Bin Saturdays, and in this episode I'm taking a look at Barbie and the Diamond Castle. This movie was released back in September of 2008, and is the 13th computer-animated Barbie movie. And while the number of animated titles here easily highlights the fact that these movies were released in order to make a quick buck, that alone isn't enough to determine if this movie is consumer garbage. On some levels, I feel as if I need to be more forgiving to the plot of this movie than I should. This is mostly because the movie is obviously intended for a much younger audience, so obvious traps like the mansion might fly over their heads, while an older audience member would instantly spot the trap even before the movie gives it away. On the other hand, I can't help but feel disappointed at how generic the plot feels at times. The overall setup is your standard quest to collect a magical MacGuffin in order to defeat a great evil, though what really hurts the movie is all of the plot holes. At the heart of the story, the main characters are going to the Diamond Castle in order to acquire the instruments of power they will need to stop an evil muse turned sorceress. The problem is that the good muses already had these instruments, so there is no reason why they couldn't have stopped their former comrade. To make matters worse, the movie reveals that the Diamond Castle also contains Guardian Stones, which when worn by the user will protect them from dark magic. Which begs the question why the muses would go anywhere near their former compatriot without them. It just undermines the entire movie when the journey undertaken by the main characters could have been avoided if the good muses were better at planning ahead, or in other words, if they weren't so stupid. Another potential plot hole is that the evil sorceress appears to accidentally kill herself in a scene near the end of the movie, but then she magically pops up again just as the heroines have reached the instruments. And while this last minute battle did manage to catch me off guard, it also came across as entirely unneeded and only seems to undermine the villain's earlier defeat through a combination of her own stupidity and the heroines outfoxing her. While the bulk of the animation work in this movie is passable, I can't help but feel creeped out a bit by the dancing dogs. If you have any familiarity with the actual dogs, then you'd realize it's beyond them the move and the fashion being displayed. And while I do realize this is a fictional setting which contains magic, I just can't find it within me to suspend my disbelief when it comes to how these puppies dance. The music in this movie isn't bad per se, but it doesn't match very well with my own tastes. As such, I'd be hard-pressed to judge the quality of the songs in comparison to similar works, but I do feel as if a few of the songs are utilized too many times over the course of the movie. One of the best examples is probably the song Two Voices, One Song, which is played in part or whole 3 times within the first 10 minutes of the movie. On the whole, I don't have too many complaints about the voice acting, though there is one scene in particular that strikes me as rather awkward.
I'm looking for 2 girls. One light-haired, one dark-haired. Did they pass this way?
I don't remember.
Really? Memory escapes you, does it?
The long pauses in that conversation just make the lines feel rather forced and unnatural. While Barbie and the Diamond Castle wasn't as bad as I was expecting, I still wouldn't recommend this movie to anyone. It's obvious that this film about friendship and the need to forgive your friends for saying or doing stupid things wasn't carefully planned out, and the narrative lacks the depth and nuance it would need to explore the topic of forgiveness with any sort of sincerity. But at the same time, I imagine little kids might be distracted enough by the music and visuals to not pick up on the problems with the movie.
Not bad. For girls.